Hold on, y'all. I gotta make a phone call. It's a long distance. Long distance. Option 5. Refill. Chiristina, Henry wife. Whatever his last name is. Yes. Thank you. They're going to give me an operator. Yes. I want to suggest that Chiristina, Henry wife, whatever her last name is. Yeah, she's off her medication, and obviously she has not contacted you guys for a refill. So I'm going to go ahead and make that suggestion that y'all just go ahead and refill that medicine, because evidently she decided to not take it again this episode. Yeah. Yeah, because now she thinks she's a therapist, and I just don't understand. So yeah, we need to get her back on there so she can just come on regular smiling, half smiling Chiristina. Yeah. So she would do like that. Okay. All right then. Well, CBS, I appreciate y'all, and make sure y'all get it to her ASAP. You know, do y'all do delivery? Because she needed ASAP. All right then. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, you guys. So yeah, that was CBS. Had to get off the phone with them so Chiristina can get her medicine. So because on this episode, she definitely thinks she's a therapist. So we're gonna get into this mess. Hi, my name is Kourtney, and welcome to our channel. My husband Eddie is not here because if you've already been watching this for so long, you know that I do this review by myself solo. Okay, so yeah. Before we get into it, let me tell you what this channel is all about. This channel is about Kourtney and Eddie. We do relationship topics, reviews, and right now I'm doing Married at First Sight, and it is a hot mess. So before we get into it, make sure that you do what? Subscribe to this amazing channel if you're watching us via YouTube, and if you're watching us via Facebook, make sure that you like and follow. And on all social media sites, do what? Comment down below. Y'all, these comments be off the chain. It's a whole nother show in itself. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this because it's a mess. So the episode is called Let's Talk About Sex. So building trust, married, and they're building trust, and they've been married for about 3 weeks about now. So we go to Karen, and Karen was okay this episode. I believe talking to her mama and getting Mama Miles on the phone done kind of work through some things, so y'all can see she kind of mild. She ain't 100, but she just kind of tempered, so she ain't acting a fool. So Chiristina is the one that want to act a fool on this episode. Okay, so one thing I did notice that Karen is a project manager, and when I know about project manager, they're over project to get a thing going right. They're over projects to make sure they flow right. Why can't she be over this project to make sure it flows? Just side note, maybe I'm wrong, but okay. So Miles walked in, and he said he got a random question, but we know it's not a random question. And he asked Karen, you know, do you trust me? And she said, yeah, I do trust you. I don't think that you're going to hurt me. I don't think that you're going to intentionally do anything to, you know, cause pain to me, but I'm just a little guarded with my heart. And Karen did say that she doesn't necessarily know how Miles is when he's stressed out, if he's angry, when he's angry and stuff like that. So she needs to know his temperament. So she doesn't necessarily know that. And so, yeah, she is concerned about that. And that's one thing I know when me and my husband were dating before we got married, is that one thing that I pray that God, please show us each other's temperament. I want to see how he is when he's angry. I want to see how he is when he's happy. I want to see how he is when he's frustrated, when he's stressed out. I want to see all those different emotions. And that's basically what she's asking from Miles. And I do get that. You know, that's on both sides. One thing that Miles did say, like, what's the worst thing that you've seen about me? And she was like, yeah, when I didn't make that macaroni and cheese, or evidently she gave it away, that macaroni and cheese lobster, and he really got in his feelings. So one thing that Karen, it seems like she loves to cook for Miles, and Miles loves to eat. So, yeah, that part wasn't too bad. You know, they still trying to work through some things. Okay, so let's move on to the couple that last time they were boring, this time I'm just confused with whatever. So Olivia and Brett, they were talking to the expert, and her name is Dr. Avani, Olivia. I get it. Yeah, Dr. V. Let's say that. So she came in and she's basically talking to the couples on this episode. She's going from couple to couple, and she's talking to them, and they're basically talking about their living arrangements. And Brett, of course, she was just talking about as far as where he lives, it's going to be a long drive for him to get to, for her to get to her job. So she's just saying she don't want to be in traffic for like an hour and a half and stuff like that. And Brett was like, you know, he owns his own home. Of course, he's just making light of it, being sarcastic, because he's saying, why don't you want to stay with me? You know, I own my own home. It's paid for. So, you know, we'll deal with the drive, but it got to be some level of compromise even in that. She feels like Brett stays, you know, so far away and from her job. And the experts said, well, you know, don't worry about that right now. That'll be later on down the road. Let's take that off the table. So they talked about kids. You know, Olivia, of course, she really truly don't want kids, or if so, she would love to have kids later. But Brett wants to have kids. So I'm just trying to see what was the reasoning for the experts to put them together. I think Dr. V did say that, you know, one thing when she was talking to Olivia and she was interviewing her, she said, well, you know, I guess if everything was right, children wouldn't be a problem. But I guess maybe with Brett, children are a problem. So she's just like, no, I don't want to have no kids with you, period. She asked them, have they been intimate? And basically she's like, I really don't do that PDA. So she sounds like another Karen. She said she really don't do that PDA. She feels uncomfortable with it. You know, I know you've been in out of a relationship for like 3 years, but like, I don't know. I do understand that some women are not real good with PDA, but it should be a level of affection, like a hug, or like even when Brett put his arms around her, it felt awkward. Like he said, they're always, you know, kind of sitting apart from each other. But is it really that she don't like PDA, or is it really that she just don't like Brett? Like Brett seemed to turn her off from the honeymoon, and things have not went smooth then. When the finances came up and he was being sarcastic with that, it's just like at that point she flipped that switch and he in the room by himself, and the lights out. So yeah, she done walked out. So just don't seem like that they're into that place. So it just seemed like they're not in a good place. And yeah, so he was just like, you know, it really sucks to be rejected, and he don't want to be rejected when it comes to that. So I don't know. One thing, he did give her a compliment about her smile, and just saying that, you know, when he sees her smile, it pretty much lights up the room. And one thing about Olivia, and I don't think this is necessarily a good thing, is like she really don't smile that much, but when she does, it just brightens up everything, and it makes his world feel okay. So yeah, he was like, it feels like you earn that smile when she smiles. So I think that was sweet, but then I really don't think that was necessarily a good thing, because it's like, oh, but it seemed like, again, let's talk about before, she was smiling when she was with the family, she was laughing, she just seemed like a really good, nice girl, like, but now she just seems like she's miserable, she's mean, and she just don't like being there with him. So once again, to me, she don't like PDA, but she wants a husband. Again, like I said, I think she wants a companion. She wants somebody to travel the world with. She wants somebody to, you know, go on trips and do all that stuff. But she really truly don't want to be in a relationship. She don't want that affection. She don't want a husband unless that husband just traveling with her and not touching her. Like, yeah. So, all right. Let's move on to Bennett and Amelia. They were FaceTiming. She was FaceTiming her auntie. And of course, you know, I'm sure they are pressing all the people just talk about her residency and stuff like that. And of course, you know, one thing she said that Amelia is the most kind, loving, sweet, you know, woman that you'll ever meet. And they did talk about the residency, and Bennett was like, well, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So I'm like, Auntie, mind your business. Okay, so Karen and Miles talked to Dr. Villiana. Did I say it right? I know I said it wrong. So let me say Dr. V. So she came in expert in everything, and so they said, do you feel like you're married? Karen said no. I don't know if Miles just humped his shoulder like, I can't remember. But Karen said that one thing about her that she moves slow. And of course we know that Miles to me doesn't move super fast, but Karen moved like turtle slow. One thing Miles said that he wants to be connected, or he's more so connected with Karen, and Karen is not so much connected with him. So maybe she's, you know, a little bit. Karen said that it's hard being in front of the camera and getting to know Miles. And this is what I said. Y'all, I'm starting to think that Karen was maybe set up to do this show. Like maybe they found her in the library. And she was looking for a book. And they say, hey, would you like to be on Married at First Sight? We're going to pay you really, really well. She like, and then they told her the price, and she thought about her student loans and stuff like that. And she just said, okay, I'll do it. I don't know, because if you've ever seen this show, like this show, first of all, shouldn't have been new to her because she signed up for it. You got to know it's a reality show. You got to know there's going to be gazillion cameras in your face. I mean, did you think it was like Big Brother? Don't they have them secret cameras like in rooms and stuff like that? I don't know. But I just don't know her mind frame to think maybe it was more than what she expected. And I get that. But still, some level, you knew cameras were going to be in your face. And I'm quite sure they said that beforehand when you were interviewing. Are you okay with cameras in your face? I just don't understand that part. But Karen said, you know, she's not good with the cameras. And, you know, of course, she's still getting to know Miles. And Miles said he's more affectionate and he likes to express his emotions. Like he's a touchy-feely type of guy. And, of course, Karen said she's not that touchy-feely type of girl, just like Olivia. Karen said that she don't she likes hugs, but she don't necessarily want to initiate them. Kind of like Chiristina said, she really truly don't want to say it. She don't want to say, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I tell my husband, can I just get a hug? I need a hug. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, Miles is not a mind reader. And like, again, I said, he's really and truly going to be on the fence or confused as to what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not. And he said it, like, he really and truly don't know how to read her. Like, it's going to be hard to, because 1 minute she said, okay, 1 minute she said, don't. 1 minute you said, don't do, the next you say, do. So it's really hard. So she said that one thing she don't like to do is she don't want to talk about sex on camera. Once again, when you signed up for a reality show, they said cameras was going to be a part of it. She said, and the experts said, she did say that men like to know that their spouse, you know, wants them sexually. Like, they want to know that you're into them. So you need to start, you know, showing some kind of expression, some kind of, you know, like text messages, writing a note or something like that. So you don't have to verbally say it, but just kind of give them some kind of clues that, hey, you want to, is there. And Karen said, one thing she did say, and the expert, she did agree, it makes sense if you try not to do so much, so that you won't have the wrong idea. So basically, she don't want to, you know, say, oh, give me a hug or give me a kiss. And then the next minute she said, oh, I don't want it. So she don't want to do too much and it kind of send wrong signals to Miles. But too late. If you doing that by yourself, you're sending Miles wrong signals because, again, he don't know what to do. So in turn, it almost seems like she's just not doing nothing, almost like she's not trying. And so the expert was like, okay, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Just basically just drop that. Just take all that stuff off the table. because it's like you cringing. So she was like, is that less cringy? She was like, a little bit. No, baby, it looked like she cringed up like older. Like she just, ooh, don't talk about nothing. Don't talk about nothing. Let's just make some light little jokes. Let's just laugh and just get through this. Everything else we're going to talk about off camera, because I want to know how things are off camera, because according to her, they seem better. Woody and Amani, they was talking about, they were, I don't know. Twitter love Woody and Amani. Who don't love Woody and Amani? I just love their relationship. I just like just their personalities. But they were saying that, it's a good kissing time. So they gave each other a kiss. So they were asked these questions. What is a turn on for you? And he said, when I can be honest with you, when I can just tell you my truth. And and I can just be transparent. So that's a turn on for me. Amani said the one little thing that you did, and it's sometimes the smallest thing, is that you put cheese and salsa on my breakfast taco with what you made me, and you don't even like that. So you don't even eat it, but you put it on mine. So she thought that was cute, and sweet. And so he said, what is the... Of course, they talk about, they're married, and they did talk about the different sexual positions that they enjoyed. Now, one thing I just think that it was just so cute, because Amani was just, of course, they were blushing, and it's a little embarrassing talking about that. But the way she kept looking around like, can anybody hear us? Can anybody see us? Oh, yeah, baby, we is watching the whole world. So it was like she kept looking around. So, they just laughed and laughed and laughed. And one thing that they said, that when have you given up on something? Like, she was told to ask Woody, is it something that he's ever given up on? And he said, yeah, the relationship with his dad. Him and his dad went to jail when he was 9 years old. And by the time he came out, I think he was like 16. And he said, and he was still expecting that dad at 9 that went into jail when he was 9 years old, and he didn't get that. So for whatever reason, and Woody didn't go into major details, but him and his dad just didn't bond. They just didn't, I guess, get along, or they just didn't vibe after that. And he was just like, you know what? I just came to closure with it. Like, we're not going to build that relationship, and it's just not going to go nowhere. And Amani said, one thing about it, you got two dads. Remember at the wedding that, she has a stepdad and she has a real dad, biological father. And so she was like, he had said that, he don't really have a dad in his life like that. So now I got two dads. And I thought that was, I really, really hope that Woody and Amani make it. And I hope that, if they come into roadblocks, that they get the counsel that they need, because they seem like they have a good support system on both sides. And I would really, really, really love to see them, make it and produce a family and just be a part of, like, I don't know if y'all watched the couples cam, but you got Jeffy and Shanice and all the other couples. I forgot the other couples' names, some of them. But like Jeffy and Shanice, I was really, really rooting for them. And you can see how Jeffy was closed off. He didn't really like affection. So I'm not giving up on some of these couples. I'm not giving up on Karen and Miles. I know Karen is getting dogged out by Twitter, but she really and truly may pull through. And so if you look at Jeffy and Shanice and what they went through and how they came over, and now they're married and have a daughter, I mean, y'all, they really and truly can work. So I'm not giving up on them. So let's move on to Karen and Miles working out. Yeah. After the doctor said, hey, let's just put this sex off the table, and you exercising with this beautiful girl right here. So Miles was struggling, of course, and because Karen been cooking, so, and he been eating. And Miles, he asked the instructor, like, how many more we got? She said, baby, don't even worry about that. She didn't say baby, but she said, don't worry about that, because she was very professional. And so, yeah, he was struggling trying to do all that stuff or whatever. And so Karen evidently works out more than he does. So, he been trying to get his life together and trying to build his marriage and get his wife, and she cooking meals at midnight. So, yeah, he ain't in shape. One thing that she did say that she liked when they do trash talk, because it lightens the mood. So, yeah. But you don't want to have a relationship where all y'all do is play. Like, Brett, he can't even be serious on stuff. So, he always being sarcastic and it gets on Olivia's nerves. So I do understand lighten the mood, but I do understand also y'all need to have in-depth conversations. Y'all need to make sure that y'all are affectionate to each other. Y'all need to make sure that y'all are in a good place and y'all are giving each other what each other needs, not just joking all the time. Okay, Chiristina and Henry. So the expert said that one question she asked him how things have been, and Chiristina said, well, it's something, one thing that she realized is something there. So she said, I can't say that there's nothing there. It is something there, and I'm quite sure, from the last time they have, built some. He said one thing about him, that he folds when he's in uncomfortable situations. He's not real emotional. And the experts say you do have emotions. One thing, you do have emotions, you just don't express them as you feel them. So as, I guess he doesn't know how, y'all know when Henry get uncomfortable, he get to twitching. Y'all know. I don't know if that's a nervous twitch. I don't want to make fun of it, but he does get to twitching. So when things just, and he said that, and the expert said, if you want intimacy, you got to express your feelings. So you got to get over that. You got to express your feelings at that time, whether you're mad, whether you're angry, whether you're sad, happy, whatever your emotion is, you're going to have to express it. And Chiristina said, well, I feel like we're friends and, we're married, because that's one thing, you want to be friends if you're married. But she said, yeah, but you don't want to just be friends, and now you're just going to basically cancel out the marriage. And you have to be careful in that. So you have to stay focused on trying to build that intimacy, trying to build that affection and stuff. So she said, what steps would you like to work towards intimacy? What steps would you like to do? Chiristina said that the ball is in his court. And y'all seen when he did that. That's why I said Henry got a personality. He is not dull, dry, and boring. He really is not. When he's around the guys, he's funny. He makes jokes and stuff like that. So she said, so she waiting on him. The ball is in his court. She's not used to being the one that's aggressive. She's not used to one that, is going to make the first move. So she's waiting on him. Henry said he got to wait till the emotional and the chemistry and the connection is there before he can make the move, especially towards sex, because he wants to build something and not just go into it. And I thought, Chiristina agreed and the expert agreed. That's a good way of thinking it. Just tell her, one thing you need to do is just make sure that you tell Chiristina that you like her, that you are attracted to her, because one thing, if she doesn't feel something from you, she wants to be wanted. That's one thing she said. She wants to be wanted. And so what kind of affection would you like from Henry? And Henry, well, I think the expert said, what kind of affection would you like? So Henry put his hand on Chiristina's leg, and she was like, okay, all right, I can get close and put, and it seemed like it worked for them. It didn't seem awkward, especially didn't seem awkward for Henry. But yeah, it worked. So they want, to see more of that. Don't be so passive. and experts was telling Chiristina, don't be so passive. Don't put up this wall. Show Henry you are receptive to what he's giving out. So don't just expect him to just, he's going to be the aggressor. He's going to be, that you're not receptive, or you're not making a move, or maybe you need to grab his hand, or maybe you need to kiss him on the cheek, or do something to show that you're not going to be like a Karen, just stiff as a board. But Henry did say in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see, more change. It's not going to be awkward. We're going to have joyful moments, and it's going to be good. So yeah, that's what we thought. Okay, so let's move on to Bennett and Amelia, and everybody loved them. Especially this scene, I didn't write a whole lot down because it was their intimate moment where they were saying all these good things and, affirmation and revelation. I think that's what the experts said. They was doing a lot of connection and hugging and saying a lot of sweet stuff. And before this, they did say, I think it was, they was putting the words down there, but I really don't know exactly what Bennett was saying, but he went somewhere. On Twitter, I think they said Starbucks, but he went somewhere, and And the lady was like, you can have whatever you want because Amelia put my finger back on me, and so you don't owe me nothing. So, they did talk about that. So she was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, yeah, I did. She cut tip of her finger off, and I was able to put it back on. So that's good, girl. It didn't hurt itself, honey. You right there. So they had that loving moment. So let's move on to Woody and Amani. Amani and Woody had this cute little scene, y'all. One thing about it, I guess they ain't got a whole bunch of drama, so they got to give them something to work with. But yeah, they was talking about the neighbor's dog barking a lot and bark for no reason. So she was like, and so Woody was like, well, I don't want no dog, and Money wants a dog. So he I don't want no dog because that dog be barking and stuff like that. She said, no, all you do is just spray him with water. It's spraying with water. Like, I ain't never heard of that either. She was like, yeah, because especially when they bark, he was like, if they bark and they barking for a reason, they're trying to tell you something, they talking. Like, she was like, no, sometimes they could just bark for no reason, just spraying with water. And so he was like, well, what if I spray you for water? He said, okay, then you're going to get your butt whooped, don't play. So they talking about that and said that, only way I'm going to get a dog is when we get ready to have a baby. Because the dog can watch the baby. Woody, go take several seats. Please take several seats. You watch too much TV or cartoons or something. And so Amani said that she do, one thing you have to do is train the dog and stuff. And you have to make sure that, you training. So anyway, they was going to sleep. And one thing I noticed, and I've been noticed it, but I never said it, that he called her sweets. I think he been calling her sweets. I think he may have called her sweetheart, but most of the time he calls her sweet. So, they're up there in the bed and, stuff and talking about the dog and all that stuff. And she said, get off my pillow. And it was just a cute little scene. But one thing I do have a question, like, Woody, like, he wanted to go to sleep for real. Like, he was ready to go, and Money was too. But do the camera crew put themselves out? Like, do they lock the door? Do they have a key? Do they come in? How do they get in there? Because one thing about it, if I'm in that bed, I'm not finna get out and let y'all out. Y'all gotta take that key if y'all got one and lock the door behind you, because I'm not getting up. Yeah, not gonna do it. All right, let's move on to Olivia and Brett's awkwardness. Very awkward. So, and somebody did say I said a lot of ums in my video. They couldn't get past all the ums. So y'all know, was one thing about it. Everybody got their vices. So I may say a lot of ums, these, that's, or not pronounce my words. However, whatever. Everybody has the freedom to choose what video they choose to watch. Because if I sit up here and let y'all pinpoint everything about me, a girl wouldn't know which way I was going or coming. So let's move on to Olivia and Brit. This awkward scene. So they were sitting down and Olivia asked Brett, like, what do you think about what Dr. B said about the move? And Olivia wants to hear his side. So Olivia says, one thing about you that I got a problem with you is that you don't take things serious and you look at me very sarcastically. And so he was like, really? And of course he got his shades on, so we couldn't see the full picture of him looking at her sarcastically. But she was like, that's one thing I don't like about you. And so he was like, one thing I try to do is try to lighten the mood. She said, but yeah, I feel like you hold back and you don't say what you really want to say. And you give like those beauty pageant answers. That was a mess. That was funny. And I think it's been said, I think Amani said it, or somebody said he give those political answers, like the answers that everybody want to hear or should hear, or just, just blank answers, but not really coming from who you are. She said one thing about it is that I feel like you putting on, for the cameras. And he was like, the camera's like with us 90% of the time. She was like, no, they're not. Not when we're on the couch talking, not when we're in bed talking, the cameras aren't there. I feel like you're a different person when we off camera versus we on camera. So evidently he's more of the person that she likes more so, or can deal with and tolerate and be able to actually have a conversation with off camera versus on camera. And so she did ask him the question, like, do you want to be married to me? And he was like, oh, wow. Yeah. And no, she said, just answer the question. And he was like, yeah, I'm here, aren't I? And then he was like, wow, you're very insecure. And I was like, Brett, yeah, both of them just over him. They just here for the chick. So let's move on, because that was just in itself. Now, I do understand when Olivia was talking about a person looking at her sarcastically, and that's true. I feel like Brett does look at her like sarcastically. I feel like he plays too much. I feel like he's doing everything just as a front, just as a laugh, and he may honestly be putting on for the cameras, because it don't seem like, it seemed like this is what it was. It seemed like in the beginning maybe she was, now she done settled in and she just like, okay, we married and this thing is serious, so now I'm trying to get to the heart of the matter. And he's still in that playful mode, so he is probably so putting on for the camera. So that's probably true. So let's move on to the exercise where Miles and Karen, they had to do a trust exercise. And this goes back to the bed, to this first scene, which they didn't lump them all together. They just spliced them up. This episode, it was okay. All right, so it was talking about pet names and, you know, what kind of pet names we have. And so he was like, you know, I call you Shorty, Mama. She was like, Mama? He was like, yeah, because you act like a mama sometimes. And sometimes Love, and he said Head. She was like, you did not call me no Head. He was like, yes, I did. Hey, come here, Head. And so Karen was like, you know, she really don't do pet names. Y'all know Karen really don't do camera. She don't do PDA. She don't do pet names. What else she don't? She don't want to talk about sex. She don't want to. All right, so Karen said, yeah, she really don't do pet names. What kind of pet names would you like to come up with? So one thing they talk about, the triggers that make you feel insecure. What are the triggers? Miles said one thing about it is that, you know, he really and truly don't like the age thing. He's dated older women before, so age really doesn't bother him. He's mature enough, but he don't like when people dismiss him because of his age. Like, you remind me of 8 years ago, the me 8 years ago. And he was like, he really don't like that. And Karen explained, like, I guess maybe evidently she did it, but she explained, like, how she wasn't talking about necessarily his age or just the things that she did a long time ago, whatever, which I don't know. I never said to nobody, you remind me of the 8 years ago me, or, I mean, not unless I was talking to my children, but I don't know. Anyway, Karen wants to know the things he didn't like, because everything is not like a rainbow. So one thing she wants to know about Miles, what is it the things that you don't like? You know, she really truly again wants to get to the meat of the matter. She wants to make sure that Miles is all of that, or everything he say he is. So she's just trying to see all of him. One thing, what is the one thing you're working hardest to change? And Karen said, your perspective of me. Okay, Karen, Mama did talk to you. She said, I came in very slow and very cautious. She wasn't trying to communicate that. She is not trying to, one thing that she's saying, that she came in very cautious and very slow. She's not trying to push Miles away. She's not trying to, she's trying to change her perspective on how he saw her in the beginning. She's trying to move forward. She's trying to show him affection. She's trying. So that's why I say Karen is into Miles. She is attracted to him. She said, and that's not who she is. All that in the beginning is not who she is. That's not all of her. You know, that was just her caution light. Karen said that Miles is moving past, Miles said that he's moving past the 8 weeks. So when he got in this thing, he's looking long term, but she's moving step by step, day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour. So let's move on to Chiristina and Henry in this blindfold episode. They put the blindfold on. So one thing the experts wanted them to do is to not look at each other when these questions was being asked, so that they can just pretty much go down deep. And so when Chiristina said, we're going to put on the blindfold, Henry was like, yeah, so we won't have to look at each other. And Henry said, yeah, that's perfect. So, you know, Henry don't really like to look. You know, he have an eye contact problem anyway. What's one thing you haven't told me that will give me more insight into who you are? He said, one thing I haven't said, you know, talked about my childhood, and that I'm very critical of myself. When he was younger, he was heavier, and sometimes it's really hard for him to see himself not in that vein. He was very insecure. He wasn't confident. So Chiristina was like, okay, yeah, that was a long time ago, and pretty much you should get over it. And she said, I'm gonna help you get over it. So I'm saying, how can you gonna help him get over it with your attitude? You already just basically telling him, it was a long time ago. It's one thing that you can't tell somebody how to get over something that was in their past. It's going to involve maybe counseling or something like that, but you don't even know him. You still trying to figure him out. You get frustrated when he don't talk to you. So how are you going to help him get over anything? I was very insulted with Chiristina in telling Henry this. I was very offended, and I was very embarrassed for Henry because Chiristina just doing too much. But her prescription company, because she ran out. She just told me, just get over it. As long as I'm ago, I'm your wife and I'm going to help you pass it. Okay, girl, so who going to help you? Help me. So the question was asked, how do you know when you're in love? She said, I just know. That's one thing about it. I'm just going to know deep down inside. I'm going to know. What would be the biggest deal breaker? These are the questions now being asked of her. What would be the biggest deal breaker? And she said the lack of confidence. And the reason she said that because Henry said that he don't have confidence. He still struggle with that. So she said the lack of confidence would be a deal breaker for her. A man not having full confidence. But I'm just like, girl, let me talk to you. We suffer with low self-esteem or insecurity sometimes on a daily basis. You may not be 100% insecure, but you may have areas of insecurity. Like you may be afraid to talk in front of people, or you may have an insecure about things on your body. So we suffer with things about us that are just a form of insecurity. So how can you be judge and jury over Henry and telling him to get over it? And I don't want a person that lacks confidence. And I don't want that right there rubbed me the wrong way. And it rubbed Twitter too, because people just can't believe it. Like, girl, you still don't even know where you stay. You said the CBD. And I know that mean, y'all told me Central Business District. So you had low confidence because when you told a man, I ain't really got no place to stay at, but you told him, you said, like, come on now, y'all, she just were doing the most. Henry was very disappointed, and he thought that what she said was very rude. And I wrote down, Chiristina is off her meds, and she thinks she is a therapist. I wrote it because evidently it's something wrong. So let's move on to Brett and Olivia, and we're going to come back to Chiristina and Henry. Brett and Olivia, they was out, doing a cocktail mixer thing or whatever. And so she was happy because she said that was her favorite drink. I forgot what it was called. So they was able to mix it, and they had the mixologist, and he was teaching them what to do or telling them what to do. And they had to, at the end, whoever straw got to stand up in the drink, then you did it right. And she was able to drink hers, and she sucked the little ice and things out the thing. So they had a conversation afterwards, and she asked him, are you in a good place? Or, is everything, you decompressing, how you feel? And so I really don't understand why they even bringing this back up. But she's like, we need to talk to Pastor Kyle, because if we see things on two different pages, we're not seeing eye to eye. We need to get a third party in there and talk, and for us to communicate, which I don't understand why we having this conversation, because Brett seems one way on camera, then off camera. Maybe I missed it. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of them. Moving right along. Let's move on to Henry and Bennett having a conversation. Like I said, Henry has a personality. When he sit down and talk to men, he seems to be a whole lot less awkward. So Bennett said, how things going? How is things in going with you and Amelia? Henry asked that. And so he was like, man, things are going good. You know, one thing we're doing is, you know, seeing about her residency and how things are going to go with that. And he was like, well, when are you going to find out? He's like, a week and a half. And he was like, what? A week and a half from today, or a week from today? And so he was like, yeah, we're going to find out, you know, and I'm pretty much going to go with the flow. We're just going to have to see, you know, how it goes. We're going to take it day by day. So he did ask him, Henry, how's things going with you? Well, and Henry really seems like a real chill, pretty cool dude. So Henry began to express, you know, it seemed like they go in different waves and stuff like that. He did express what happened to him with Chiristina and Amelia. I mean, Chiristina, with him, Henry and Chiristina. Henry did tell Bennett what happened about the situation with him not being confident. And I think that Bennett gave a good answer. He was like, people think that confidence is like you're going to be 100% confident every day, every minute, every hour. And that's not so. It's sometimes we can have, I'm not always confident in the content that I may bring to you guys. I may be, you know, not 100% confident in what I offer you. People may have, y'all know, this right here was a no-brainer. Like you for her to ask for a man to be 100% confident all the time, and she ain't 100% confident all the time. She wasn't even confident enough to tell the man that she wasn't even on her meds, and she was afraid at how he was gonna view her and look at her, because her mama said you don't need to be on medication, and she said people, you know, may treat her different when they find out she's on medication. So why you weren't confident enough to tell the man that you was on meds, that you got ADHD or whatever it is? What's your confidence level in that? Like, that was just a bunch of, I don't know. It's almost like she was trying to be vindictive for some reason. She's trying to get him back, but I don't know what the reason was. So they got, you know, and like I said, Bennett explained it perfectly. So he was just like, that's something y'all gonna talk about. So of course they get back to the to their hotel, their apartment. Get back to the apartment and they talk about it. And Chiristina was basically saying, you know, she need a confident man and stuff like that. Do you want to be confident? Do you want to be a confident person? Like, girl, what degree you got? Bachelor's, master's, what part of therapy? Because it seemed like now you're trying to break it down and just see how he is as a person. Like, what? Who done gave you some kind of lessons or manual stuff? Gary, y'all need to do therapy together. Let's move on to that, because, you know. So they talked about that, you know, got folks all up in their feelings. She said she wants to know, why are you living in this, why are you living in this world without confidence? Girl, she must have Googled some stuff and looked up some stuff and said, ask somebody these questions, because this was just crazy. So she was like, are you going to possibly get there? And, you know, Henry was like, well. And Henry didn't know what. I really truly was lost on what kind of question she was asking. Like, girl, what that is? Confident Book for Dummies. What was she reading? Because I really truly don't know. All right, you guys. So on that note, whoo, child. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still upset about that Chiristina. I wish I had that girl number for real, honey, because I'd be like, girl, what was you thinking? How you gonna do somebody like that? That was just so rude. So it was just, yeah. All right, but meds are coming. Say it with me, meds are coming. All right, on that note, you guys, don't forget to, of course, subscribe to this amazing channel if you hadn't already, and make sure that you follow and like if you're watching this via Facebook. And again, on all social media sites, comment down below. I'm so excited about the last video that I put out to you guys. It just kind of blossomed, and comments went like crazy. So I appreciate you guys enjoying this content, and definitely let me know what other reviews you guys would like to see from us. My husband will be back on board, and in fact, we're going to do something that's a little bit different when it comes to Married at First Sight. So we're going to give you guys something else. I'm not going to stop doing the reviews, but I'm going to do a little breakdown of each couple, and my husband's going to join me, and we're going to discuss all these different couples and get our man's perspective on it, because we talk about a lot of things off camera. So I want you guys to join in the conversation and let us know, should we do it live or should we do a recorded video. So, all right, you guys. So on that note, I talked enough. I want you to have an amazing week, an amazing weekend, and don't forget to go with God and let God go with you. And I will see you back on the next video. Deuces.